Hey there, this is Bobby, aka Paginator, and I am here in an unusual setting in a hotel room because if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I live in a very small town in Wyoming, and today I am in the big city of Salt Lake City, Utah, where a place where you can go to bookstores and buy books, and there are bookstores there. Where I live in Wyoming, we have no bookstores, which I have vented about many times on this channel, so I won't say much more about that. But I came to Salt Lake today to do an author signing event, to meet an author that I have been wanting to meet for ages, Craig Johnson, the author of the Longmire series. Usually on this channel I talk about young adult and middle grade books, but I love the Longmire books. They are grown-up books, as I like to call them. And of course, they inspired the Netflix series that is just going to go into its 6th season this November. And I'm so excited about that. And so Craig Johnson was doing an event here at one of the libraries. And I got to hear him speak. And he read a bit from his new book, The Western Star. And I'll be talking more about that here at the end of this video. But for now, I have kind of a book haul-ish section to talk to you about. So when I first arrived in the beautiful Salt Lake Valley this morning, I went to, or I guess it was this afternoon, I went to my favorite bookstore in the entire world, the King's English. It is an independent bookstore in Salt Lake City, and if you ever get a chance to come to Salt Lake City, please go to the King's English and check it out. It is the most fun bookstore. It's built in this old house, and you go from room to room, and there's just books, and then there's another room with books, and another room with books, and it's fantastic. And they actually host a lot of different events, and they were the host of the Craig Johnson event that I went to this evening. Alright, so at the King's English I purchased 5 titles. Now I have been saving up money for quite a while. I recently had a birthday, and so I had a little bit of money from that, and I also had some money from other things, and so I've been like hoarding this pile of money for this particular trip to buy some books. And so when I went to the King's English, I had a list of books that I have been keeping my eye out for and been hearing about on BookTube and different things, and so here we go. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about each title just because I don't want to spend a lot of time making this video. I've been sick this week. I don't feel super great other than just being all jittery and hyped up from the book event, and I really want to go to sleep. So in the interest of time and the interest of not boring you to death, I'm not going to spend oodles of time talking about each book, just kind of show them and tell a little bit of where I heard about them or what I know about the story if I do know anything. The first book is The Last Namsara by Kristen Ciccarelli, I think. It's got this beautiful cover, and in this horrible hotel lighting, it's hard to tell, but it's shiny, and we've got this face. I'm assuming it's a girl, but it could be a boy. I don't know. And there it looks like what's a knife or perhaps a sword blade over their mouth. And I've been hearing several booktubers talk about this, and so I'm just intrigued, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, the next book is, oh, this is a heavy one, is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. I was lucky enough to get to attend a book signing of Sarah J. Maas when her Court of Wings and Ruin came out, and get that signed by her. This one was not with an author event. I bought it at the bookstore just because we must continue reading the series. Now, I know this one's kind of like a side story with Kale, and but, you know, you still have to have it because it's part of the Throne of Glass series, right? Must read. Even though Kale's not my favorite character in that series, I don't know exactly who is my favorite character, but I don't know if Kale is. It's struggle with him. Okay, no offense, Sarah. Next book, Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I don't even need to know what this book is about. I just need to know that it's by John Green. And it has an awesome title, Turtles All the Way Down, what the heck? And plus it's a signed copy, see? It's a signed copy. I gotta find his signature in here. Yeah, he signed it with a light bluish Sharpie, apparently. It's John Green. we've been waiting anxiously for his next book. Okay, the next two books I purchased at the King's English were books that I specifically heard about from Emma Books, and I watch her channel a lot, and I comment on there, and she replies almost every time that I comment on there, and she's just awesome, and we have very similar tastes in books. Usually when she likes a book, I like it too, so I'm going to trust her judgment, and I picked up Moxie, which is about a feminist movement in a very what's the word that I'm thinking of? Misogynistic. Yes, that's the word. She's in a very misogynistic town/school, and she starts like this zine and this underground feminist movement. So I'm super excited to read some girl power stuff. Okay, so that's Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. And the last book I purchased at the King's English, also recommended by Emma from Emma Books, is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I have watched a couple of Emma's interviews with Adam, and he's funny, and I haven't read his other books, but I'm sure this is going to be fantastic, and I mean, if there's a sad ending, it says in the title, so, there we go. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Still sick. Yeah, that's all I want to say about They Both Die at the End. Alright, so after that, I couldn't let it rest with just like 5 books because, I've been saving this money for a while and I had more money to spend, so I went to Barnes & Noble. And I went to one where to get to the young adult section you have to take the escalator, and it's like arriving in this magical place because you're already in the bookstore, which is magical to begin with. Remember, I'm from a place with no bookstore, so you're in this big huge bookstore and there's tons of people there. It's a Saturday, so it's super busy, and then you go up the escalators and all of a sudden you're in the teens and young adult section, my world where I live, my happy place of reading. I was so happy to be there, and I pulled out my list again and started looking for books. And the first one that I have here is Blood for Blood by Ryan Gradin. This is the sequel to Wolf by Wolf, and this one's been out actually for a little bit, but I have been anxiously waiting to get to a bookstore to buy this one. I loved Wolf by Wolf. If you don't know, it's kind of like a retelling of history, imagining that Hitler had won World War II, and our main character has the ability to shape-shift her appearance, and she disguises herself as a male and enters this memorial motorcycle race in hopes that she can win, meet Hitler, and kill him. And this is the sequel, and I can't tell you exactly what happens at the end of the first one because, one, it's been over a year since I read it, and I don't remember all the exact details, and 2, I don't want to spoil it, but this one picks up the story, so must not tell you about this one yet. Okay, the next one that I got is another one that I've been hearing a lot about from different booktubers, which is This Darkness Mine by Mindy McGinnis, and it has this cool slash, and you can see a face looking out at you from it, which is just fun. The next one is Into the Bright Unknown by Ray Carson. This is the 3rd book in the series that starts with, crap, my brain's gonna blank out on me now. Walk on Earth, a Stranger. And then it goes to Like a River Glorious, and then this is the 3rd one. And if you don't know, this is like a Western story, gold, mining for gold, kind of that time period, but with magic because our main character can sense and feel the presence of gold. And so, of course, she's going to make friends and some enemies because of this power. And her number one enemy is actually her uncle, who is a really nasty, evil guy, and we don't like him. I'm really excited to wrap up that trilogy and see how Ray Carson does that. The next book I have is One Dark Throne. So after I went to the bookstores, I actually went to my hotel room and checked in, and then I went to have dinner, and I took One Dark Throne with me and started reading the first few pages, and immediately got sucked right back into the story with their 3 sisters. I remember one of them was supposed to be a poisoner, but then, well, I better not tell you because I don't want to spoil the first book if you haven't read that yet, but read 3 Dark Crowns first, and then read One Dark Throne. It's going to be awesome. I can already tell for, after 15 pages. And the last book I got at Barnes & Noble is Warbringer, Wonder Woman by Leigh Bardugo. I usually don't like to buy books that are about superheroes, but I love Wonder Woman so much and love that new movie so much, and I just still want to be in the Wonder Woman world without watching the movie 27 million times, because I can go buy the DVD and rewatch it every day, but I know I'm going to get sick of that, so I might as well dive into a book. And the last book that I have here on my counter, but certainly not least, is The Western Star by Craig Johnson. So we're coming full circle back to the author event that I went to tonight. I pre-ordered my book from the King's English bookstore, and so when I went there, I just got to go pick it up and didn't have to hand over any money, and it was awesome because I already paid for it. And Craig, as I mentioned before, he talked about this book. See this beautiful cover? This is actually Robert Taylor that plays Walt Longmire in the TV series on the cover. They took a picture of him and was able to put it on the book cover, which is pretty cool. This is the 13th in the Longmire series, and as an avid reader of this series, I can tell you that it's cool to read them in order, but you don't absolutely 100% have to. I had my dad start on like the 4th one when I tried to get him to read those books, and I think he's still reading the first one that I gave him, but he tries. He watches the TV shows, so there's something. And so Craig was telling us a little bit about the TV show as well, and the last season is going to be airing on Netflix on November 17th, and I am very, very excited for that. And I don't know what I'll watch on Netflix after I'm done watching the series, because I signed up for Netflix so I could watch Longmire. I'm going to have to find some other good things to watch. So if you have a good Netflix show that's not like bloody gory, I can't handle the bloody gory zombie. I tried to watch The Walking Dead and got about 5 minutes into that episode number 1 and just stopped. So not bloody gory, not super sexualized, like stupid freaking 13 Reasons Why. It was a horrible show. Ruined the book for me. Anyway, back on topic. Netflix recommendations, comments below. Back to The Western Star. Sorry for my little side rant there. This book is kind of one of those stories where it goes back in time and back to the present, and so there's 2 different mysteries going on. And actually the way that Craig described it is the one that's Walt's Memories is a mystery. It's a legit murder mystery on a train, of all things, which is awesome. And then the one in the present is more of a thriller. And he says that we kind of already know who did it, but we're just waiting for them to get there. And what we have is Walt and Vic have gone with Lucian to Douglas, Wyoming, to recertify for their gun permits, or I can't remember exactly which permit. Anyway, recertify for something to do with shooting guns, and yeah, I could open up the dust jacket and tell you, but I'm being lazy. And while they're there, they go to this hotel to have a drink afterwards and celebrate, and there's this whole bunch of these old photographs, and there happens to be a picture of Walt and a whole bunch of other sheriffs, the sheriffs of all the counties in Wyoming back in the day when he was a deputy with Lucian, and they were standing in front of this old train called the Western Star, and it used to run from Cheyenne all the way to Evanston and back in a weekend, and the Wyoming Peace Officer Conference, the Sheriff's Deputy Conference, whatever, would have their conference on the train, which I think is freaking awesome. And guess what? I live not too far away from Evanston, Wyoming. And one of the characters in here is the Sheriff of Uinta County, Wyoming, which is the county where I live. That's freaking awesome. Of course, the Uinta County Sheriff is in the past before I was born, or somewhere near to where I was born, so it's not like an actual person I know, but still, pretty cool. Anyway, we have Walt remembering this trip on the train, and there was actually a murder mystery on the train, and of course he just happens to coincidentally be bringing with him a paperback copy of Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. That's awesome. And we also have Walt trying to make his way to Cheyenne as well, as he's remembering this old story, to go to a parole hearing that is renewed every 4 years, and he attempts to make sure that that guy doesn't go back into mainstream society. And I haven't met that guy yet because I'm only 30-something pages in. I was reading while we were waiting for Craig to come out and talk, because I got there early to get a good seat. So I got about 30-ish, 32 pages into the story, and I'm loving it so far. Craig Johnson is a fantastic writer. If you haven't read any of his books, please go read one. The Cold Dish is the first one in the series, but you could pick up several others and totally enjoy them. My favorite one, let's see, Craig gave me a card that has all the books on them. So you can see the different titles there. And I like The Dark Horse, which is the, where is that? I can't do this backwards. This one above my finger, right there. The Dark Horse I think is my favorite, but I also really like The Highwayman, and I like, oh gosh, I like all of them. What am I saying? They're all good. Junkyard Dogs, Cold Dish, they're all good stories. However, in full disclosure, they do have cussing in them, and there's some sexual things in some of the books. So they're grown-up books, which is why I call them grown-up books. Anyway, read Craig Johnson. He's a fantastic writer, and he actually is from Wyoming, and he writes stories set in Wyoming, which is very authentic, and he talks like a guy from Wyoming, which is awesome to sit there and listen to him speak. I'm like, yeah, I know people that talk like you. That's awesome. Okay, so that's about all I have for now. I have rambled on for a full 16 minutes now, and I said I was going to try to keep this short. So apologize for the long-windedness and for the stupid Netflix rant. Please feel free to comment in the space below if you have any thing to share about any of the books that I've mentioned, or want to tell me what to watch on Netflix, or want to complain about my ranting, whatever it may be. I am going to wrap this up now so that I can go to bed and get off of my feet. Have a lovely day, everyone. Happy reading. Adios.